Have you ever felt like you're playing a high-stakes game of Tetris with your own life? Trying to perfectly fit in your career, your family, your health, your social life, only to realize that as soon as one piece clicks into place, another one gets completely knocked out of alignment? Well, today we're going to dig into a really simple but incredibly profound idea that helps make sense of this whole juggling act. It's called the four-burner theory, and it might just change the way you think about balance forever.
It's a feeling we all know, right? That sense that you're on a treadmill that's cranked up just a little too fast. I mean, you're keeping up, sure, but there's just no room to breathe, no moment to just be. We're sold this idea that having it all is the ultimate goal. But what if the chase for all is the very thing that's making us feel like we have nothing left?
You know what? Let's just say it out loud. You can't do it all. Not all at once, and definitely not at 100% capacity across the board. And that isn't a sign that you're failing. It's just a fundamental law of being human. Our time, our energy, it's all finite. Every single time we say yes to something, we are, by definition, saying a quiet no to something else. So the real question is, are we making those choices consciously? So how do we start making these choices with intention instead of just letting life happen to us? Well, we need a new way of seeing things, a kind of mental map. And it starts with something you probably see every single day in your kitchen. I want you to picture your life as a four-burner stove.
This is the core of the four-burner theory. It's not some complicated algorithm or life-hacking spreadsheet. It's just a simple, really powerful way to visualize where your energy is actually flowing. Just imagine it. Four burners, each one representing a huge, vital part of who you are. So, what are these four burners? They're the big ones: family, friends, health, and work. I mean, think about it. For most of us, that's the whole ballgame. Pretty much everything we do, every hour we spend, is feeding one of those four flames. But here's the catch. The stove only has so much fuel in the tank.
And this brings us to the part of the theory that's, well, it's a little tough to hear, but it's absolutely essential to get. It's not enough to just know what the burners are. The real power comes when you accept that you have to choose which ones to crank up and which ones you have to turn down.
The writer David Sedaris put it in the most blunt way possible. He said, to be successful, you have to cut off one of your burners. And in order to be really successful, you have to cut off two. Now that sounds brutal, doesn't it? It sounds awful. But before we just dismiss it, let's just sit for a second with the uncomfortable truth it's pointing at.
Just think about that super-focused entrepreneur pouring every last drop of energy into their startup. Their work burner isn't just on high, it's a roaring bonfire. But what's happening to the friends and health burners? They're probably barely flickering. Or think about the new parent, whose family burner is just radiating so much warmth and love. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also a law of nature that the career and social life burners have to be turned way down for a while.
And this is so important to remember. This isn't about judgment. This theory is not here to tell you you're doing life wrong. It's just a mirror. It's simply designed to show you, without any sugarcoating, the choices you are already making, whether you realize it or not. The only question it asks is, are you happy with the reflection?
But okay, this whole idea of cutting off entire parts of your life, it just feels so final, so harsh. Is that really the only option? Or is there a way to manage our stove with a little more grace? What if the goal isn't to be some ruthless cook, but to become a masterful chef?
This is the question that changes everything. Does off really have to mean off forever? Or is it possible to just turn a burner down to a simmer, just to keep it warm until we have the time and energy to turn it back up again?
So there are three key ways to move beyond that harsh, all-or-nothing thinking. Think of it like becoming the head chef of your own life. First, you learn to adjust the flame, not just kill it. Second, you learn to embrace the natural seasons of life. And third, you start looking for creative ways to get one flame to heat two different pots.
This is the art of the simmer. Maybe you just don't have time for a 90-minute session at the gym, but you have 15 minutes for a brisk walk. That's simmering. Maybe you can't do a 3-hour dinner with your friends, but you can send a quick text that just says, "Hey, thinking of you." That's simmering. It's not about the big, grand gestures. It's about keeping that connection warm.
And that leads right into the second idea, embracing the seasons of your life. Look, there will be seasons when your career is a roaring fire, and that's okay. There will be other seasons when your family needs all the heat you can possibly give. The real peace comes from trusting that no season lasts forever. You're not abandoning a part of yourself, you're just tending to the part of the garden that needs the most water right now.
So we've spent all this time talking about the 4 burners, how to adjust them, how to balance them, but we've completely missed the most important part of the entire stove. The one thing that actually makes all the other flames possible in the first place. There's a 5th element, this hidden flame that we have to protect above all else.
It's a question we almost never think to ask, right? What is it that lights the burners to begin with? What's the source of that initial spark? Because if you think about it, without that flame, there's no heat, there's no stove, there's nothing.
It's the pilot light. It's your spiritual well-being, your core sense of self, your faith. It's whatever connects you to something bigger than your to-do list. And it's not a roaring fire, it's this tiny, constant, quiet flame. But if that little flame goes out, the whole stove goes cold.
The true art of living isn't about frantically turning dials up and down and stressing out about balance. It's about learning to tend to your burners with grace, while always keeping one steady eye on that deepest flame inside you. That's where the real warmth, the lasting warmth, comes from.
See, managing your 4 burners, that's the game of life. That's the day-to-day tactics. But protecting your pilot light, that is the art of living. That's the real strategy. Because a promotion, a bigger network, a busier schedule, absolutely none of it matters if your inner world is cold and dark.
So I'll leave you with this. Sometime today, just take a quiet moment and look at your own stove. Be really honest with yourself. Where are the flames burning brightest? And where are they maybe just flickering? What's one small thing you can do today to tend to the burner that needs it most? And most importantly, how are you going to protect that precious, tiny flame that lights up everything else?